All right. I don't know why it took me this long to do the Volcarona suspect test, or to talk about it at least. I got Rex day one, and it, I just waited until there was only one day left of the Rex. But we're here now. So this is probably like the 27,634th time that Volcarona has been suspect tested, and it's deserved. Every single one of those fucking times was deserved. Volcarona is a mon that should be put on death row and just tortured, and never ever ever allowed to actually be executed. Just keep torturing it, and if it's gonna die to natural causes, then keep that bitch alive, because he deserves it. So, I'm gonna be putting the forum here. If you can't tell, I'm driving right now. Um, they announced the suspect test, obviously. The requirements are actually the same as the Terra suspect. I think they're going to be going with these requirements for any suspect test that they do in OU until the end of its life cycle, which is 1750 ELO and 80 GXE. The GXE is fine. I think it takes about like 40 games, 50 games, let's say, before you could do it in 30 games if you were really, really good. I don't know if I can say that the Rex are easier or harder now, because the 80 GXE is pretty fine to get. The 1750 ELO is the only thing that makes it long, because before you could get the 80 GXE or even 85 GXE in less games, right? But yeah, I don't know if I can say it's easier or harder now, because I'm getting them more now, but maybe that's just because I'm getting better as a player. I don't know, but yeah, I left my thoughts on the discussion forum as well. You can see Finch's thoughts here. Finch actually said that he has always tried to ban Volcarona for generations, but now, during this suspect test, when he was testing them all out and shit like that, he said that it's fine. He said that it's not broken, it actually adds something to the metagame, and it's actually healthy for the metagame. False! That is completely fucking wrong. Volcarona is not healthy for the metagame at all, in my opinion. We're going to be slandering Finchinator more here. Okay, I lie. We're not going to be slandering Finch. I just find it, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and I do understand the people for unbanning Volcarona, but I just find it funny that I tend to always disagree with whatever Finch's take is. But yeah, I left my thoughts in the forum. My thoughts, you can read them if you want, it's kind of long. Essentially, I was saying that Volcarona, people are trying to say that, Volcarona now actually has checks to it and has more answers, because with the banning of Terra Blast, it can't just flip matchups and blast through Pokemon. And while I agree with that, and it's, you can't deny that Terra Blast, for the most part, is what banned Volcarona last time, because 60% of Volcaronas used Terra Blast last time. And it had Terra Blast Fairy or Terra Blast Dragon to get through and blast through the dragons. Dragonite wasn't a check anymore. Things like that. Gouging Fire at the time, Roaring Moon at the time, with Terra Fairy into them. Or it had Terra Ground, so it could beat the outright answer, complete wall to it in Heatran, or even Ceruledge, because now it can just Terra Ground them, or even a Toxapex. And Terra Blast Ground, since you Terra, is going to be stronger than a Psychic into Toxapex. And while I do agree with that, I think it's a bit disingenuous to disregard how good the bulky Terra Grass set was, because that also was adding fuel to the fire, which ended up banning and being being a reason for Volcarona being banned. And that set is still very good now. You beat Tinglu, you beat Garganacl. I'll get onto the checks for Volcarona, but there's a lot of... Oh, this guy is not letting me through. Okay, finally. Yes, Volcarona now can't blast through its supposed walls or its checks, but I think it can outlast and 1v1 many of its checks still, because you will have things like Terra Grass, Terra Water, Terra Poison, all defensive, even Terra Ground defensive we've seen now. And yes, sure, Volcarona has more checks now and it has more answers to it, but however, I don't believe that they're as solid or as reliable as people are portraying them to be. Now let's list Volcarona's checks or answers. You've got Tornadus Therian, you've got Moltres, you've got Toxapex, you've got, let's give it to Hammerot, I guess. You've got Garganacl and Tinglu if it isn't Terra Grass. You've got Dragonite for sure, right? Heatran, Ceruledge, Blissey. Blissey was, the only actual answer to it before the ban, before the Terra Blast ban. Who else? Trying to think. Kind of Glowking, but Glowking still loses. Toxapex, yeah. Who else? Cinderace. Alright. Now let's actually go through these mons. Tornadus Therian. It's a flying type, it hits Volcarona for super effective, it's faster. A lot of the times it runs AV, but Volcarona can run an offensive fire type. And even without the fire typing, it can actually 2-hit KO Tornadus Therian. And with literally only a bit of bulk, I'll put the calc here, with literally only a bit of bulk, Volcarona can, because the thing is, this is in the scenario that Volcarona has QD'd and Tornadus Therian is coming in on the turn that it QDs, right? So Volcarona is +1/+1/+1. Tornadus Therian can't Oko Volcarona, even with a Lorb at that range, and Volcarona can 2-hit KO it with a Flamethrower. And even if Volcarona didn't, get a turn to set up, and it's just a standoff. If Tornadus Therian isn't AV, then Volcarona with Terra Fire can just Oko after one QD. And if it's AV and it comes in, then Volcarona can 1v1 that as well, with Terra Fire. Obviously, Tornadus Therian can Terra, but Tornadus Therian's Terra are never a fire resist, and sometimes it's even steel, which is weak. Now let's go on to Toxapex. Now, yes, sure, Toxapex can come in and it can haze Volcarona, and if it's spread F Toxapex, which it is for the most part, it can take a +1 Psychic. It does 60, and then or less even, and then it can take a Psychic after it clicks Haze and recover off the damage, right? Now, alright, that's a good check, but if Volcarona is Terra Poison, then it doesn't care, you become setup fodder for it, and Terra Poison is great because it can't get poisoned by Glowking, it can't get poisoned by Toxapex. If a Petrant wants to die, Volcarona, wants to use it as a setup fodder, and if it isn't Terra Poison, then it can get poisoned by Malignant Chain. But if it is Terra Poison, then Petrant becomes pure setup fodder for it, right? So Terra Poison is very good in my opinion, and Volcarona can just set up on Toxapex and beat it 1v1 in the long run, with enough Psychics, with enough, with enough of that shit. And say Toxapex is Fizz Def, then it doesn't even matter. It comes in, it takes a +1 Psychic, and now, even after it hazes, it still dies to a unboosted Psychic. Because it's Fizz Def. Furthermore, Toxapex is only really seen on semi-stall or stall archetypes. It's only seen in these teams. You don't see it on anything else. It's hard. It's weird to say, but it's true. It's hard to actually fit Toxapex in these structures that isn't just pure stall or semi-stall or really, really fat, right? Because it's so passive. So, what's it called? So that's another check. Now we have Hammerot. Hammerot we can just ignore, even with AV. The guy gets burned with a flip with a Will-O-Wisp, or just bulky Volcarona is taking the Ceaseless Edge and is getting burned by Flame Body. If Hammerot wants to expand Terra Fire on an AV set, then sure, but I don't think it's going to happen in the long run at all. And Volcarona has Giga Drain to hit it before before Terra. Garganacl and Tinglu, these both are just gonna die to Terra Grass, Giga Drain. They can't do much about it. You have, okay, Moltres. Now, Moltres is a bit of a weird one, because yes, it can Brave Bird Volcarona, yes, it can Hurricane Volcarona, and Spidef Moltres is very good. Spidef Moltres takes on a lot of the fairies, so it is going to be good anyways, and Goldengo it takes on, right? But Volcarona, like, if it just Terras into Tera Water, which seems to be good right now, or Tera Poison or Tera Ground, then Moltres isn't to a KOing it, and it actually can become setup fodder for Volcarona because it will, be bulky, since most of them are bulky right now, and it just sits up on it, and like the only thing Moltres can the only answer Moltres reliably has on a Volcarona is Roar. Like, it can't just always click a Brave Bird or a flying move, right? Because it's like, well, shit, what if it Terras now? So I have to click Roar, so it'll take Chip. And then what if it roars into Pokemon that forces the Moltres to search out? Then it's screwed, and now it can't recover off that damage. You have Dragonite. Now, Dragonite, yes, is a good check, because, it's a Dragon typer, and it's a Flying typer. Resists, it stabs. Psychic doesn't do that much. After multi-scale, it can do, especially if it's offensive, or a Hurricane from Volcarona as well can do good damage. But if Volcarona Terras into anything that isn't weak to or neutral to EQ, then Dragonite is forced to Ice Spinner. And that means, and the thing is, Ice Spinner doesn't even, like, what's it called? Kill it. Like, it has to hit it multiple times, and that means multiple chances for a Flame Body proc, which, Dragonite doesn't want. Besides that, Volcarona is naturally faster than Dragonite. It can Will-O-Wisp it on switching, or it can just Will-O-Wisp it in front of it, or it can QD and it can Will-O-Wisp it if it does have that move. And Dragonite can't comfortably switch into Volcarona because it doesn't want to get Wisped. It doesn't want to risk that. You have to at least reveal the set fully to know, oh, okay, it isn't Wisp. And Flame Body proc can still happen. And I have seen the arguments about people saying, like, oh, you can't just say, oh, let's not bring this one because of the possibility of Flame Body. But it's very relevant. It's a 30% chance, and you're forcing the Pokemon in front of you, because Volcarona is beefing up its Spidef. You're forcing it to hit you with a physical move, and for the most part it's going to be a contact move. So you're forced to get the Flame Body. Like, you're forced to roll the dice with the Flame Body proc, right? Unless Dragon has Terra Fire. Sure, if Dragon has Terra Fire, then, Volcarona's cooked. And that goes for a lot of the Volcarona checks. If they're Terra Fire, then Volcarona can't do much about it, but they still have to be Terra Firing. Speaking of a pure Fire type, Cinderace. Now, the good thing about Cinderace is that it reliably 2 KOs Volcarona always, even like a bulky set. But if Cinderace is slightly chipped, then a +1 Psychic can OHKO it, especially an offensive Volcarona can do that. Volcarona can also Tera Water, which is very good right now, or it can just go into pure Tera Fire and 1v1 Cinderace as well. We've seen some teams which opt to go Tera Fire, and they absolutely blast through Cinderace. Still though, like, before Terra, Cinderace is a good offensive check, a decent one at least, let's say, but still, there's a lot of things that have to go right, I feel. And I'll get on to my arguments a lot of the time being like, oh, Volcarona Terras, but let's go through the last couple months, trying to remember who they are right now. Well, Zamazenta I forgot to mention. Now, well, Volcarona, to be fair, 1v1 Zamazenta. Zamazenta can Stone Edge it, and does little +1 Psychic and +1 Fire move, but Volcarona can just Terra out, right? So yeah, who else? Ogerpon Wellspring, but like if Volcarona Terra Grasses, then Ogerpon Wellspring loses. Glowking, as I said, just gets 1v1, especially with Bug Buzz, and you can see a lot of these Terra Bug Swarm sets. But Fire also just hits it well, and you can Fiery Dance on it. If it's Terra Poison, it doesn't care about Toxic. If it's Terra Ground, it can't get T-Waved. Things like that. Who else? Heatran and Blissey and Saralege, yeah, okay, sure. These guys, Flash Fire and Blissey just being an absolute fat bitch, they can take it, and they are the most reliable answers into Volcarona. They are just complete walls, right? which is fair enough. But still, people are saying that, oh, well, Volcarona, with these half checks and the list of checks that it has and the list of walls that it has, that's as good as you can ask for in Gen and OU. But I don't really think that's the case. You know, you look at the mons that people complain are Dragonite, Zamazenta, and Wellspring, right? Wellspring, if you any Fizz Def mon that isn't weak to water or grass, you can bring into Ogre Wellspring. Yes, okay, a +2 Swords Dance can do a KO you. In some cases, it can even OHKO with a +2 Tera Water. What's it called? Ogre Wellspring with like Ivy Cudgel. But, you know, Zapdos, Pecharunt, Corviknight, Dragonite, Zamazenta. These guys can all come in and they can take a +2 Ivy Cudgel. They are, some of them are, Zamazenta is faster and can CC it, or Body Present, or Eye Def, and Dragonite can attack it. Corviknight can Brave Bird it and kill it. You know, same for Zapdos can Hurricane it, or T-Wave it, or Discharge it. Pecharunt can kill Malignant Chain. Like, yes, it can beat them, but like Ogre Wellspring can beat them, but all these guys have a means of actually killing it. Now look at Dragonite. Same goes for Dragonite. You know, Fizz Def mon that isn't outright weak to ground or Ice Spinner. Even a Landorus can come in and take an Ice Spinner. A Great Tusk is naturally faster and can Ice Spinner it. What's it called? Zamazenta can roar it out or can Eye Def on it. Moltres and Zapdos if it's not running Rocket Move, which it doesn't run for the most part. Pecharunt is so bulky that it can't take the EQ. Corviknight completely walls it if it doesn't like Fire Move. Like, it has, especially now with that Terra Blast, like it can't Terra Blast Fairy or Terra Blast Flying to beat those checks, right? So there are way more answers to it than Volcarona. Zamazenta, any Fizz Def mon that resists a fighting move can take it, like a Glow King, a Pecharunt, a Scarfinamer's Therian, a Booster Arrow Valiant, a Hatterene sometimes if it's not Heavy Slam, like Sinistra, like there are Zapdos Moltres if it's not Stone Edge, like there are checks to it, right? And like Zamazenta and Ogre Wellspring and Dragonite, they need like everything that they need more than they can afford to beat or have a means of beating all of the checks. Volcarona is a different case because it can boost its speed, its bulk, and its attack, whilst having good recovery and deal great immediate damage all at the same time. Like, it can do that, unlike any of these guys. And because of that reason, it's hard to bring in a Pokemon where you're like, oh, okay, this can reliably check Volcarona. Zamazenta, Ogre Wellspring, and Dragonite, they have mons where it's like, oh, okay, I can always bring this mon and do something against it, right? Volcarona doesn't have that unless it's Blissey or Heatran. Like Cerulege, I guess. But it doesn't like Dragonite can't come in because it doesn't want to get Will-O-Wisped. Summer doesn't want to come in because it doesn't want to get Will-O-Wisped, and also can get Giga Drain. Same for Garganacl. Same for Tinglu. Tornadus Therian. If it's not AV, it can probably get blasted by Terra Blast, by Terra Fire. If it's AV, then it can actually, just with a bit of bulk, Volcarona can 1v1 it still. Moltres is forced to roar it and take chip. Zapdos doesn't resist a fire move, so it can take a lot of damage from it. What's it called? Toxapex can get psychic. If it's Terra Poison, then it's kind of cooked. And it turns many of these checks into setup fodder. The previous Pokemon I mentioned aren't able to do that. They don't have the capabilities to turn some of their checks or some of their walls even into a setup fodder. But Volcarona has the means to do so. And I've listed all the Pokemon that are supposed to be checking Volcarona, but Volcarona has a means to deal with them. And I talked about in my forum post how it's very easy to support Volcarona. It's a Pokemon that can go into any team because it works on any team as a win con, right? And that is the thing with Volcarona and all of its answers that I've mentioned being that, oh, it can Tera. Realistically, if you have Volcarona on your team, who are you going to want to Tera? 99% of the time, it is Volcarona, because that's your win con. Like, yes, never exhaust, all hail Lord CTC, but your win con is a Pokemon that you almost always want to Tera. And if that's your win con, it's gonna win you the game. It's gonna reverse 6-0. It's gonna set up and sweep. It's gonna clean up. Then you're always gonna Tera Volcarona. So it's not a big commitment. It's not a huge expense to Tera Volcarona in a lot of games, in my opinion. That is. So I don't think there is an issue in that. And often, a lot of times where it's like, oh, I need to Tera this month to actually beat this Tera Volcarona. The Volcarona is probably still better off than you. And your Tera feels more expended than theirs, because they can probably come in, switch out and then come in later and deal with something else. So I don't think people making this argument that you have to still expend Tera on it. I don't think that that's a strong argument against Volcarona. Moving on, a lot of people's arguments as well are to do with the fact that, oh, Volcarona actually adds to the metagame now because it helps us check things or beat things that needed to be checked. Excuse me, what are those things? Oh, an Ogerpon Wellspring. Like I just mentioned the lists of Pokemon that deal with the Ogerpon Wellspring, which is actually longer and more reliable than the Pokemon that deal with Volcarona. And you're telling me that, oh, Volcarona, because it can +1/+1/+1, and Bug Buzz, Ogerpon Wellspring, it can beat it? I mean, Wellspring can, if Volcarona isn't Tera Grass, then... Because Tera Grass is the only way that it can ignore Ogerpon Wellspring stabs, right? If Volcarona isn't Tera Grass, then Ogerpon Wellspring can just kill it with a Tera Water anyways, right? But also, that's not a Pokemon that needed to be dealt with. Okay, Zamazenta. Now I hate Zamazenta. Me no like that fucking dog. So, it's very cool to see a mon that can beat it. I mentioned before how Zamazenta can Stone Edge it, but obviously Volcarona Terras into anything else, and it's +1/+1/+1. It can kill it on 1v1 it. But is that like do we need that? I just also for Zamazenta listed a series of mons which are more reliable into it than the series of mons that are reliable into Volcarona. People are trying to say that there are Pokemon that need checking and need to be dealt with, which Volcarona helps with right now, and in turn that is making the metagame healthier and adding to it. I don't see that. What I see is Volcarona, because it can deal with those mons, it actually makes it more broken. It makes it the Pokemon that needs to be dealt with. In my opinion, the Pokemon that is more restricting in the builder right now is Volcarona. I don't think about any other mon more than I think about Volcarona in the builder right now. That is an issue. That is a fundamental issue with the metagame, and that is inherently making the metagame unhealthy. You're just adding more variation, adding more restriction in the builder. Okay, now you're gonna tell me 7MD, well, there's a lot of Pokemon in Gen and OU which do that. Why is Volcarona being singled out? Because Volcarona is the mon, in my opinion, that is causing the most unfair, or the feeling of it being unfair and causing the most variation, and is the hardest mon to deal with because it has a lot of variety. It has Will-O-Wisp, it has Psychic, it has Hurricane, it has Morning Sun, it has QD, it has offensive sets, it has defensive sets, and you can't predict those sets as well as you can predict other sets. Because Volcarona can fit onto any team and it's always going to be a win con, it can virtually be any set to win that game. It doesn't have to be shoehorned in. It doesn't have to be forced into anything. Like if you have a team with a lot of physical attackers, then you'd assume the Valiant is special attacking. If you have a team with no hazard support or not strong hazard support, then you assume the Kyurem is gonna be lefties or boots, right? The Dragonite, it doesn't have Terra Blast anymore, so its variation really drops down. Volcarona, it isn't restricted in its variation. It can be so many different things, and it boosts its special attack, it boosts its speed, it boosts its speed, it has good immediate damage and has recovery. None of those other Pokemon that people say need checking have what Volcarona have. So it is the premier mon right now, and it should be banned. Now with the variation thing, Volcarona has so much creativity and innovation going for it right now, because prior to its ban before, it was just Terra Blast, and most of the innovation had to do with how do I blast through my walls and my checks. Hence, Terra Dragon to be the dragons, hence Terra Fairy to be the dragons, hence Terra Ground to be the Heatran and the Serledge and the Toxapex, right? And the Glow Kings, right? Like, the innovation at the time was thinking of, okay, how can I blast through my checks and my walls? But the checks still stayed the same, because it was like, oh, well, okay, well, if I force a Terra on something else, then Volcarona can't Terra on me, and now my Dragonite can deal with it, and now my Heatran can deal with it, and now my Gorgonite can deal with it, right? But now, there is innovation in terms of how can I, as a Volcarona, outlast and 1v1 that Pokemon. It's not about blasting through, although there is that variation, that innovation still. For the most part, it's about being bulky and about outlasting and 1v1ing Pokemon. And Volcarona has so many routes in which you can do that, and there's still so much creativity to be found out and explored. Whereas for its checks, I don't think that is the case, or at least it's not as much as the innovation for Volcarona at all. There's way more innovation that is yet to be had, which supports and strengthens Volcarona, rather than ways to check it, because the checks are still the same, right? Okay, I'm seeing more Moltres right now, I'm seeing more, even Arcanine Hisui's right now. Arcanine Hisui is pretty fucking cool. I like that one a lot, and yes, it for sure always beats Volcarona, but let's be real here, it's Arcanine Hisui. He's a UU-mon, and while I do love, Arcanine Hisui, like, we don't see this mon being an actual staple of OU because of Volcarona, because there's so many answers to it. You have Tusks, you have Treads, you have Petron, you have Zamazenta. Okay, if it's Scarf, it doesn't deal enough damage to break. If it's Banded, then it's Choice Locked, and those ground types can deal with it, or those fighting types can deal with it. If it's a boosting item, then it still might not have the means to break. And if it's not boots, it's weak to rocks, and it's slower than a lot of things, which just can OHKO it, right? You like Ogerpon Wellspring, Landorus Styrian, Zamazenta, Valiant, so many things. Even an Amercian Earth Power, right? As people can bring in as many as many rock types as they want into the tier, but no one's going to be a staple in OU. It's just not going to happen. The power level is too high. So for that reason, I just think that for all these reasons, I think Volcarona is the thing which is unhealthy, is the thing which is too restricting the builder, and it's not adding anything good to the metagame, and for that reason I believe it should be banned.
Okay, at the start of the Suspect run, during my day one run, I did think Volcarona was more broken than it actually is, and I will say that I was maybe quick and slightly rash when I made this post here, but and I was heavily leaning towards ban then, but I'm still leaning towards ban now. Like, I've played it, and yeah, okay, there are these Pokemon that can check it, but it still feels annoying, it still feels unfair at times, it still has a lot of restriction in the team builder. There isn't a mon that I worry about more than Volcarona right now, and it doesn't add anything healthy to the metagame. So even if it's not necessarily very broken, it is very unhealthy for the metagame, and I think it should go for those reasons. So I will be voting ban still. But let's go into the team that I actually used for it. I used this Iron Hands team. I just happened to be laddering with Iron Hands because I want to draft it in a draft that I signed up for, because I want to Terra the boy, and I was just having fun with it. And then I just saw, Smogon dropped Volcarona Suspect test. Fuck it, let's get it with the Iron Hands team, and I was already Terra Fire Iron Hands, which was actually a really nice check into Volcarona. I can ignore the Flame Body Burns and the Wisps. I resist Giga Drain, and I resist its stabs, and I also am neutral to Psychic instead of being weak to it. And the Spit F was already there just so I can take on some other mons like a Darkrai and things like that. And I mean, honestly, I had an AV Hammerot with Terra Poison, I had a Booster Speed Treads, I had a DD EQ Ice Spinner Encore Dragonite, and Iron Hands. And the Pokemon that I used the most to beat Volcarona was Iron Hands, and I had to Terra for it. Like, Samurott would get burned, Giga Drain would kill it. Iron Treads, EQ didn't end up doing that much. And if it would Tera Grass, then Ice Spinner doesn't do as much at all either, and I can get burnt. Dragonite, yeah, EQ and Ice Spinner are nice because it covers for like the Terra types that it can be, but if I get burnt then I'm screwed as well because I'm Terra Ground and not Terra Fire. Encore was nice, but if I Encored, what's it called? Volcarona, then it would switch out and then it would come back in to try to sweep again later. But Encore was pretty nice still, I'm not gonna lie about that. But Iron Hand was the he was the guy. But the thing is with this team is Iron Hands does a lot of work. It forces the opposing ground type to die. You bait in the Tusk, you bait in the Treads, and you kill them or get them close to dying because you expend your Sugar Berry, and then you might be chipped. So you might have to deal with something else. You might have to deal with a Darkrai, or you also might have to be dealing with the Corviknight because there is no mon on this team besides Iron Hands that reliably deals with Corviknight. Petront can Shadow Ball it, but if it's Spit F Corv, it's kind of hard. Enamorous can Mystical Fire, but a lot of the Corviknights are with Tingloos and Slowkings, so they can just switch into those guys, and they know that I'm choice locked anyways, so they can exploit that. So Iron Hands having to deal with Corviknight, having to deal with Volcarona, and even the ground type was a lot for it, but I got my Rex with it. He did the job. He was my boy. But yeah, I made the Iron Hands, I think it's 172 speed because a lot of things like King Gambit and opposing Iron Hands are running 171 to outspeed 170 Corviknight, since that's Corviknight's like 0 speed. So I made it 172 just to outspeed those things. I have Dragonite with Jolly because it outspeeds Zamazenta, and EQ can break through Zamazenta, and also Terra Ground EQ +1 Oko's Dragapult. The Encore is really nice just so it can stop setup and take advantage of other things. Ice Spinner was pretty good, obviously, that coverage into Landorus, into grass types was pretty nice. Hammerot, just a trusty AV set. You get spikes up. Honestly, a lot of the times I came up against the Corviknights would get greedy, or they don't think they would stay in, so I would just ceaseless on them and get them close to being low. Like Hammerot a lot of the time was being used as the Corviknight like breaker because like Corviknights don't expect you to stay in, or like I just get them low enough so they can be in T-Punch range or like a +2 Drain Punch range from Iron Hands, and you just knock off a lot of items, and yeah, that's pretty cool. Petront, this thing is just it's Jesus, I swear. Petront is LeBron James. The best fucking physical check into anything in the tier. I beat so many Dragonites with this Terra Ghost, so I can still spin block and check a lot of things. It was good into Tusk if I ever needed it. Good into Treads, obviously. It is 32 speed, so it can be 220 speed, so it can be faster than a Goldingo, faster than what is it? Faster than a King Gambit, a Jolly King Gambit. Yeah, I don't remember if I made it 221 to actually be faster than Goldingo sometimes. I know that I did win some games because my Petront was faster than Goldingo. Iron Treads, there's a Rocker, also Terra Ghost just to be that spin blocker. I think Terra Water could have been nice because Rain can be kind of annoying for the team. But yeah, Ghost did me well. And I mean, like, the team was pretty good into Rain. It's just like a well-played Rain can be annoying. I think I only lost to Rain once, and that's because like the guy read my life. But yeah, and then I have Enamorous, which honestly, Enamorous was like the best showing of Enamorous Therian I've ever had on any team. It was so good. Like, genuinely, most of my games were decided in the end game by Enamorous healing wishing a Hammerot or a Dragonite or a Iron Hand or a Petront off, like with Healing Wish, or it cleaned up with a Terra Ground Earth Power or Moonblast. Like, it was so good. Genuinely might have been the best mon on this team, which is surprising because you'd think like 3 other mons would be better than it. But yeah, it was so good. This team was like really fun. I got the Rex in a day, didn't take long at all. You know, if you want to try it out, then here it is. I'll put it in the description as well. Maybe some changes need to be made, because we're seeing Volcaronas try out different sets now and experiment. That's also the thing with Volcarona, is in the Terra Blast landscape, like, the innovation was, how can I make this Volcarona break through these checks? And that's how Terra Ground, Terra Fire, and Terra Fairy and Terra Dragon came about. But now the innovation is, how can I make this bulky Volcarona 1v1 everything and sweep on its own? And its innovation and like the creativity that it has is so huge compared to the creativity and innovation for the checks for Volcarona, because the checks are the same, like the checks are the same pre-Terra, right? But with the defensive Terras, it can still beat those Pokemon which you think, well now I can Terra Dragon, Terra Fairy or Terra Ground Blast me, that I can beat it. But it's like, no, because of its bulky Terra now, and it running a bulkier set, it can actually just outlast you and 1v1 you instead of blasting through you. You know, it has another means of beating you, and I think there is much more variety for that, which can bring about a set which turns out to be like the most optimal set, or the most optimal sets of Volcarona, more than there is when it comes to checking or beating Volcarona. Like, I'm seeing more Arcanine Hisui's on the ladder. I've actually laddered with Arcanine Hisui, and it's pretty good. And yet I can't deny the fact that Arcanine Hisui is a very solid check into Volcarona. But let's be real here. Arcanine Hisui is a UU mon. It's cool. I love it. It's gonna have like a bit of a resurgence, and you see more Moltres right now. But at the end of the day, people, you can't genuinely tell me that Arcanine Hisui, as much as I love them all, you can't genuinely tell me that this one is going to be an OU staple because of Volcarona. I just don't believe it, because it's very easy to check it, right? And if it's choice band head smash, then sure, it can break through a lot of things, but it's choice locked. And you still have Iron Treads and Great Tusk, and you still have Petrarant, and you still have Landorus Therian. And Landorus Therian is faster and can Earth Power you or EQ you and all that shit. Oakapon Wellspring is faster. Scarf Arcanine Hisui isn't strong enough to break through things. Yes, you can outspeed a +1 Volcarona because Volcaronas are bulky, but still, they will just switch out and go into their Great Tusk or their Fighting type or their Fizdef guy, right? I don't see Arcanine Hisui being a staple of OU as much as I'd love to see it. Anyway, so that is enough rambling from me. There are still 2 days for the suspect test, so if you want to get it, then please go do. I'll also link the discussion thread for the suspect test itself, so you can hear what other people are saying. I think in the start there was a lot of people saying, Volcarona isn't actually ban worthy, let's unban it. And then I think more people started voicing their concerns with it, and more of the banners, what's it called, joined the discussion. So yeah, you can read it up, you can make up your mind, and if you let me know what you think, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, why. I love having those discussions. I can talk about mons any day, and any tier that I'm interested in I can talk about as well. Also let me know if you try the team and how the team was for you. It was pretty cool for me. Yeah. Thank you for watching.